Reiko here, your friendly neighborhood witch. Now, I know what you're thinking, but you're safe here. It's okay to not be okay. And self-love is always going to be the best love. Self-care is going to be the best care. Now, join me as we let out some steam, become a little less stressed and more carefree. Come join me over our weekend detox, and let's detox together, because we always want to protect our energy.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Reiku's Weekend Detox featuring her uncle. At this current time, guys, you have been being ever so patient. I hope you guys are doing well over there. I hope everyone is staying hydrated, remembering that it's okay to not be okay, and taking care of yourself over there. And as you guys know, I'm Reiku. Now, up for the man who needs no introduction.
No introduction at all. Hope everybody's having a great day. As great as a day of, as great of a day as I'm having.
Hey, that's what we love to hear here. Now you guys know that we definitely try to do this every second weekend and fourth weekend of every single month. I hope you guys have been keeping up with everything. And there was just something I was pondering, and this episode actually is coming up because I've been pondering about a couple of things in life. I was actually having a conversation not too long ago with my partner, and it kind of brought up the conversation piece here of, can social media ruin your relationships? Not only with your partner, your friends, your family, but within yourself. So that's what the question I'm going to be posing today at today's episode is, can social media ruin your relationships? So the question I have for you is, as a male, especially a millennial who has an understanding of both, millennial and Gen Zs, what would you say about social media? We both grew up where there was a time of no social media.
Agreed.
So, as a person, I actually posed a question to you earlier this week is, why is it that men don't like their women's photos once they're with their girls?
And the answer that I gave you was me personally. I still like the person's photos who I'm with. I mean, it is what it is. The person needs to be shown love any way, shape, or form.
Okay, okay. Because the reason I actually posed this question and asked this question was because I was starting to see an ongoing trend in social media. I use social media for a research purpose and everything else like that and engagement. I kept seeing for a good minute, for like a week straight, where there was like jokes talking about, I post up a picture and every other guy who isn't mine will literally post under, oh my god, hard eyes, oh queen, oh my god, look at her, she looking like a dime piece. But then the guy that you're actually with, cricket noise. And it seems like a lot of women actually agree that's kind of the same thing. So I even posed to a few other male friends. I'm like, do you guys like your girls' photos? And I had a very mixed review, which actually was very shocking to me, that a lot of guys actually don't like their girls' photos the moment that they get with their girls. It's like some of them actually think that, I already have her. I see her every day. I tell her in person there should be no reason I need to comment under her photos. While other guys is like, I need people to understand I'm still there. I'm still an active part of her life because they're going to try to, which is an insecurity thing. Do you think that could be the reason why some guys will still like their girl stuff even after the fact?
There was never that for me. I've never been insecure. So for me, no. I can only answer for me. I can't answer for anybody else.
That is true. I could definitely, you know me, I'm going to always question and inquire about certain things because of my mind. And because the thing is, as a woman, we already have a lot of things stacked against us. And I get with men because I had somebody, bring it to my perspective that guys don't have it as easy as we think, where a lot of guys are used to being rejected. And as soon as they try to go and talk to somebody, they're just like, ew. And now that's stuck in their mind when they try to shoot their shot. But the thing is, like, we have it to the point where social media makes it so easy for women and men to try to shoot their shots. With women, we've already had society, Hollywood, everything else say what the standardized version of beauty is, which we are potentially brainwashed to believe that if you're not getting liked by your guy, he doesn't care about you. If he's not liking your stuff on social media, obviously he isn't caring about you, which is unfortunately that's how women are. We are brainwashed to believe and conditioned that if my guy's not doing this but all these other guys are feeding me attention, then you know obviously he doesn't care enough about me.
Um, I could see. I guess I could see how some people feel like that. But if you know this person, treats you very, very well on a daily basis, you shouldn't have to worry about social media validation.
Correct. Because the thing is, social media, as humans, we seek validation so much. I could tell you as a person, they used to make the joke that the girl who's popular or the guy who's popular, who's used to getting praise, once they get into the real world and they're no longer getting those praise or those validations, they typically kind of start getting attention deprived. So they're seeking attention. They'll do things to seek attention because that's what they want. They want that validation. Um, there was a person in particular. She was basically lying on social media. It was a whole scandal about it where she was getting so much attention. And by the time that she stopped getting attention, she started coming up with elaborate schemes just to get more attention because they're so used to the attention. The thing is, I had the opposite effect where in high school I really wasn't getting attention. I knew everybody, but nobody remembers me. It's weird. Like I was in everybody's friend group, but everybody's just like, oh, that was the weird girl, or that was the girl who just happened to be friends with so and so, and that's why she was here. That's me. So I'm not used to like the attention, and even now to this day, when I have people come and try to like, oh my God, she's so beautiful, I'm like, who, me, little me?
Yeah, I can only imagine how much that sucks.
Yeah, no, that's true.
I've never really had that issue, so I can't, be like, oh yeah, I relate. I don't.
No, of course not. But the thing is, though, I had to bring it up to somebody. I was like, that's for women how I think of it, and this is just as a woman. When we get into relationships, we can get validation from any men in the world. And even then, this isn't just millennial. This has just been since the dawn of time. Most women will cheat if their men are not giving them enough attention or not giving them the attention that they want. Women are
I think
very
that goes both ways.
I think it does go both ways, 100%. But women like to be, they like their validation. They like having that validation. And I can say, as a woman, I'm at fault at that where I like my validation. I don't want it from other people. I just want it from the person I'm with. Like, I want to know that I'm your desired type. Like, for instance, I know for a fact I have a habit of being with people long term who I am not like physically their preferred type. And for me, I have to deal with that. Like, even with my ex husband, I knew I wasn't his preferred type, even though he was the one who pursued me first. He has a type, and I wasn't that type. But he was with me because of my mind, not because of my physical body. Now, don't get me wrong, I am very attractive. I'm not ugly by no means, shape, or form. If you know, you know. I'm not ugly. But I'm not everyone's first choice, and I'm okay with that because I rather be recognized for my mind anyway, because beauties can fade. But the big thing is most guys that I've dated, I am not their actual type. I've never really dated guys that I was their main type. Like, oh, I gotta have a girl who's thick, or I gotta have a girl who's, got butt, or she got this or that and the other. I've never been that person in any of my relationships. I think there was only one relationship where I was actually his exact type that he liked, physically and mentally and spiritually. And that relationship went south so damn quickly. So quickly.
I mean, I could. I don't. I don't know. I don't know why. somebody who you're the exact type, why that would go south quickly?
Because they weren't ready for what I was ready for. Like I wanted I've always dated with the anticipation of, this being my end goal, while he was just like, I just want to have fun. And ultimately he ended up with somebody he's not happy with, and he's one of the few people, like, I had to block his number because every so often he'll be like, hey, I just want to come and see how you're doing and this, that, and the third. I actually had to block him because he was like, let me come, I'm coming in your area. And I'm like, yeah, unfortunately, because of my job and my occupation, I'm not even in my area half the damn time. And then when I told him, I was like, hey, I can give you suggestions of places you can go see, places you could do this, that, and the other. And he snapped on me. Full blown rejection snapped on me. And I was like, well, damn, okay. Obviously, I knew you were coming for something else. But
And that just confirmed it.
exactly, that just confirmed it. But the thing is just like social media has us believing that if our guys are not liking our photos or giving us compliments or this, that, and the other, it could also, it means that they're not interested. If the guy's interested in you, he should be putting in pressure. He should be doing this. He should be doing that. But in all actuality, is he really? It does that make him like you less? He's with you, right?
And does that make the woman insecure?
Yes. It probably will make them insecure. I can't speak for every woman, but I could say for me, if you're not giving me attention on both social media or in person, then yes, that would give me some insecurities. And at the end of the day, if as a woman, if I see that you're liking the body type of the girl, and I mean every woman is at fault at it. I've done it. I still do it. It's really bad. Where like I sit here and I'll randomly like, oh, okay, I see that so and so's liking my partner's pictures too much. Who is this person? And then I go down a rabbit hole. Every woman has done it at one point in time or still doing it. I can't say that, it's bad, but then you have to kind of like rationalize it could just be harmless. But then when you start seeing the type of people, especially if you have a guy who has a certain type of friend body type, like female friend body type, you can obviously say, okay, well, I know this is their type. And for
Right.
some odd reason, every guy that I've been with, except for, like I said, the one other person, actually, no, two, I can take that back, two people, I was not their physical body type. And the fact to it being that, like, I literally have to say, I know with my partner now, I even told him, I was like, I know I'm not your type. Like, I'm fully aware of that. Now, mentally, I keep you stimulated, but physically, I don't think I'm your body type. I don't care how awkward or how, much you may not consider or think about sex. There is still a man will still have a certain type when it comes to that. But if you don't want that person for sex, of course, they're not going to experience it that way, because at that point you should still want to desire your partner to an extent. Like, you got to like them enough to want to be in a relationship with them.
I
Um
agree.
but with social media, it makes it so easy for men to be able to, drool over these women and look at these photos. And then it makes, as a woman who has insecurities or had insecurities past tense, because every woman at one point has insecurities, it'll make them question, like, now that you're here with me, we're having an intimate moment, are you really looking at me, or are you looking at the fantasies that you like on Instagram? Like, are you
Mm.
really looking at me, or are you looking at the fantasies? So I actually got a suggestion not too long ago. It was out of the blue. It was with one of my little safe groups and stuff. The girl actually brought something up to me. She was like, if you know, and she's just as bad as me when it comes to it. She's like, I had to actually, in order to save my marriage. Now she's been married. Me and her would have been married the same amount of time if I would have stayed married. She would have had me
Okay.
by a year. She told me after the cupcake phase in her marriage, she had to literally delete her partner, her husband, off of her social media because she realized that being friends with him on social media, she was going to constantly go down a rabbit hole and she was going to constantly have these issues. So she actually posed in our group the other day was, and this is what started my research. She said, "Do you guys think that being friends with your partner on social media is the reason for a lot of our unhappiness in our relationships, because social media makes it so easy for us to get misinformation. One, two, it also makes us feel as though that, oh well, my partner's liking these females photos. Now you have caused some issues, because it may not mean nothing to them. They may be just scrolling through their timeline, and then everything else like that. I even posed to my ex-husband. I was like, if your partner, his girl, I was like, if you sit here and you see she posts up a photo, do you sit here and you comment and like it? He's like, yes, I do it all the time. I was like, now say the same thing for one of your female friends. Do you like them? He's like, I'll like a photo, but will I comment under or put an emoji under there? No, I would not, because that's disrespectful to my
Absolutely not.
girl.
I
So,
agree.
and I agree with that, because why would you do that? Like, you're entertaining the idea. And the thing is, this is where I got into it with my partner. I'm like, you may like a photo, but if you put a emoji under there, or like multiple photos in one time, or comment under somebody's stuff, you can like a photo, like a photo, that's fine. But when you like multiple within like 20 minutes, and then you sit here and put in a comment under,
It's not a good look,
that's not a
and
good look.
it could send a wrong message to that person that you like. And
It was not exactly, it could send a wrong message to that particular woman, because even then women will be like, oh, this man is thirsty. I promise you, in those close circle friends, they probably sitting here talking about, man, this guy just sat here and liked all my shit, he must be thirsty. mm. And things of that nature. And then it would look bad, because again, all women have it. I don't care what woman says they don't do it, because that's a lie. At some point in time, especially if you're really interested in your man, you're gonna sit here and you're gonna scroll. You're gonna go through his page, you're gonna go through all that stuff. And it's nothing wrong with, having a little bit of healthy obsession with your partner, because guess what? That's what the cupcake phase is. You're still getting those happy endorphins. And unfortunately, we do live in a society where we are kind of conditioned to see, like, if it's something's too good to be true, we kind of want to see if there's something. We kind of, it's not that we're looking for trouble, it's just more or less that we want to kind of understand them too. Some women are looking because they want understanding. Some women are looking because they actually do want to find some dirt on them. I can't say all of it is just negative. Some of it is a positive thing too. Every woman does it at some point. So I would have to agree with this. Do you feel as though that not being friends with your partner on social media will actually benefit the relationship?
I've never not really been yes, I have. I was not friends with one person that I was dating on social media. And so me myself personally, I don't post a lot on social media. I'm a private person. Um, I don't really post my relationships. I don't post a lot of times who I'm with. I don't do any of that stuff to not cause problems. So I mean, I think it could be a saving grace,
It could be. But the thing is, though,
especially if you got somebody who's always looking for social media validation. That's for me, it's a huge problem.
that is true. The thing is, like, I always tell people like this. Here's the problem with social media. And I mean, this is just my opinion on what's the problem. As a person who is on social media, and I use social media for my platforming, for my gaming, for my modeling whenever I get back into it. Right now, I just kind of taken a step back from it. Um, and then also because I'm trying to quote unquote be a semi influencer, because you can use it for what it's used for social media. But at the same time, their drawback of it is, it's like, I'm not looking for validation, because I get 1,000. No, I can't even say 1,000. That's a whole lie and a half. I may get one or two people who might slide in my DMs, like, and that's once every like 2 or 3 blue moons. But then I have a bunch of people who follow my stories. I have a lot of people who sit here and they'll say something, out of this, that, and the third. Like, I don't have people pursuing me to the extent that people think I'm getting pursued. So I'm not looking for validation from social media. I was not the person who literally had people shower me with affections or do anything, or I had to do everything myself. I had to give myself my own words of affirmation, like shit like that. So for me, I like getting validation from my partner, and it doesn't need social media to do so. I can randomly get a text message today, and they could say, oh, I thought of you today, that would be validation enough for me. Like, I'm that fucking simple. But social media for other women, I do see that they do complain when their partners are not liking their photos or anything else like that. And for me, I'm one of those people where I will send my partner a video or a photo directly. And for me, I may get upset because I may not get the respond I want. Like, I want you to tell me, you look beautiful today. I'm doing it for myself. But knowing that you like how I'm doing or what I'm doing, that makes me feel good.
I could see why. I mean, anybody want that validation from their partner. I mean, even guys, if they don't admit it, they want validation from their partner.
Oh, 100%. And I feel like that is the case. But the thing is, like, I try to tell people, you have to be very careful with social media because social media will have you believing that if your partner's not liking every one of your posts or this, that, and the other. And the thing is, like, I told my partner this, but now I'm starting to realize, and I might be wrong, but I feel like now he's just liking my stuff just to make me happy. He's not actually looking at the videos. He's not really doing that. I think he's just liking things. And I promise to the gods, I don't think he listens to my podcast. But it's just one of those things where I tell him, like, I told him, like, when it comes to social media, especially like IG and Twitter and stuff like that, the more views, the more likes, the more interactions you have, that's what gets your stuff put in the forefront to make the money that you're trying to make. Like, my page now is at the point where I can start making money and stuff like that. So yes, it is good for you to like my stuff, but I actually do have meaningful things under it. It is me promoting my poetry. It's me promoting, hard hitting facts when it comes to relationship advice. So yes, I do want you to actually look at it and actually read the things that are there, but don't just like it just because I told you that's what's going to make me happy. No, support is actually supporting, understanding, lot, like breaking it down. Like, don't do it because I told you to do it. Do it because you actually do support me. Because there's a difference. You feel me?
100%.
So for me, it's just that, like, social media can ruin relationships. Social media can actually make you self-analyze a lot of things, including your friendships, a lot of things when it comes to your own relationships. Social media can make you actually even analyze your relationships that you have with your family and within yourself. There was a post not too long ago saying there was a TikTok video I watched not too long ago where this woman is uh, the daily life of a person who is high functioning anxiety, which everything she said, and she's a licensed psychiatrist, everything she said is exactly what my psychiatrist told me. I'm high functioning depressed and high functioning anxiety. So it explained a lot, but it was like the first thing I saw on TikTok, and I'm like, I should not be getting triggered this badly first thing in the fucking morning because social media will have you questioning your own existence and your own stuff depending on what you have on your timeline and what you have in your algorithm. So when you
And that's why I'm not big on social media.
exactly. I was like, it's too early in the morning for me to be getting triggered. And then I started looking at myself like, damn, self, you need to get it together. Like, what are you doing?
Get it, get it together.
Get it together. Get it together. But that's just it. So I feel as though, what would you feel as though would be a beneficial thing for a person, because I feel like at this point in time we are so codependent on social media, whether it's for the news, whether it's for just gossip or just escapism. What would you do to help somebody who is suffering mental health issues? Because I feel like social media can actually hinder mental health. It could benefit, but it can also hinder it.
I agree. For me, I would tell somebody find a hobby. For me, going to the gym is great for my mental health. Like that's something that I do for my mental health. That's my escape. That's my therapy. Just find something that can distract you from all this other bullshit that goes on in the world.
Gotcha.
I mean, and it's not that hard because a lot of people every waking moment they go straight to their phone. They on their lunch break, they go straight to their phone. They're in the middle of work on their phone. I'm guilty of it too, unless something is like seriously going on.
Some people wake up and first thing they do is be on their damn
Grab their
phone.
phone. Yeah, I've been to like lunch or dinner with people, and what are they doing on their phone? and then mad at me when I get annoyed. Like, come on, we having a time, we're having a moment together. Let's cherish this moment without phones, without social media. Like you have people who have to take picture of their food and all this other stuff. Like we don't need to do that. We need to have a time together. Let's communicate. Let's enjoy this moment while we have it because we might not always have these moments.
Oh, 100%. So here's the thing. I made a deal with myself, and this is not something I made in this relationship, but this is just the deal that I've had. I made a deal with myself where when it comes down to going on dates, so I will sit here and take moments. And don't get me wrong, I do post my photos, especially if it's a brand new restaurant or something like that. So I do take a photo of those moments because I feel as though that with so much screen time, we typically don't live our lives through our actual own memory and our own eyes. We're living our lives through our screens. So we're not really enjoying those moments. We're kind of like going through these like, oh, I'm at the same restaurant and it doesn't look like this photo. Like my food doesn't look like this photo from this. It nothing does. But what I get at is a while ago with my marriage, and this is something I started while I was with my ex-husband, where when we go on dates, I may take a picture of the food, but after that, I put my phone to the side, and then we sit here and we have time to talk. We sit here and we build together. We sit here and do something together because ultimately, when it comes down to it, those moments I've witnessed people with dementia. I've witnessed my grandmother lose memory of her having grandchildren in front of my eyes. And I don't want to go through my life like that. I've witnessed people who can't remember something. And it's people I've worked with who are my age where they are like, I can't even remember what I ate or what I did. Let me see if I can go through my photos real quick or my Instagram to find the restaurant. Like you can't remember things. I grew up where we remember phone numbers because we wrote it down. We knew what our houses looked like without having to like take a photo of it. Like we knew what it looked like. You feel me?
Yep.
I could tell you how to get to my grandmother's house. We going off of, like North and Lotus in Chicago. The house ain't there no more. So even if I say where it's at, nobody would like know.
That
But
one know.
I knew exactly how the house looked from like brick by frame, everything because I lived in an age of no social media. I actually got a phone very late in the game, so I didn't have to deal with those issues that most millennials deal with now. Like my little brother had a phone before he was 9 years old. I was like, bruh, I wouldn't even dream. Okay.
My had one at like my daughter had one probably at the age of 6, and now she has an iPhone 13 at the age of 9.
And who the fuck knows that?
That's a conversation for another day.
Mm-hmm.
But still, it's just like like you said, I would have never been able to imagine stuff like that at my age.
Exactly. So it's just to me, I feel as though like what you can do, and this is something I was reading up on, like social media can actually make you more depressed. Because then when you're going through these alone phases and everything else like that, I'm like, oh my God, it's cuffing season and I'm gonna be single by myself yet again. And you're seeing all these people who are cuffed up and booed up, and you're like, oh, that could be me. And then turn around, now you're going on social media seeing all these happy couples and you're making yourself depressed. Or you're seeing all these
Yeah.
people live these lavish like lifestyles and going on vacation or making money and meeting celebrities, and you're making yourself depressed. So what I've done for myself is I've actually limit my screen time. I try to limit my screen time by a few hours. So I don't get on my phone first thing in the morning. I actually keep my phone a little bit farther away from me. Like, don't get me wrong, I do have to be on my phone first thing in the morning on the days that I have to work because I want to make sure I get good flights for the next day.
That
Um,
makes sense.
so that's different. That's me literally trying to do work shit. But when it comes down to other things, like even with my podcast, I don't even look at my stat numbers until the end of the month. Like I take a day and that'll be the day that I'm like, all right, let me go look at the stats for, Podbean. Let me look at the stats for Spotify. Let me go look at the stats for YouTube. Like I take that time. But then when it comes to social media, I do use social media for research purposes. Because the thing is, we don't understand what a person may have done to even get to that point, what a person may have done to even start posting all the things that they're posting. These people have these picture perfect lives on social media, but some of them are miserable.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And so you can't can't live your life through what you see on other people. Like, oh, I'm living through you, my guy. Like, I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy for you. But I've seen people who will post all these lovey-dovey shit on social media, but then their Twitter talk about, man, fuck this dude, this, that, and the third. I'm ready to be done with him and slash this. And I'm like, wait a minute, wait a minute. Your IG shows that y'all are together. He took you out, bought you flowers. What happened? Make it make sense.
Exactly.
So
It'll never make sense.
and it doesn't. And the thing is, like, I can honestly say, as a woman, I feel as though you don't have to post your partner for people to know your partner's there.
And I had a issue with that before. Not gonna go too deep into it, but I told this person, like, you knew before we got together that I wasn't big on posting my business on social media. So I'm not gonna start now. Like, I'm just not gonna do it.
Yeah.
I don't need other people's validation. I don't need people to know that we live in such a good life. We're so happy because they're not gonna see the bad. So why do they need to see the good?
Because the thing is, what it is, social media, and it's not even a social media thing. This is even before social media, and even then, I have to take it back to like a step with even like when I had a conversation with somebody else. I was telling them, think about that one scene in The Grinch, because this is one of their favorite movies. I was like, think of the one scene of The Grinch where Cindy Lou's mother was literally like, "I'm gonna have a better house than the bitch next door, the one who was single and didn't have a husband, but she just wanted that validation. Her house was better." And that's just what social media is. It's literally it's a dick slinging competition. If you think about it, people are going on and talk about, I have the best relationship, I have the biggest cars, I got the most money. Everybody is flexing because they want that validation. It's not just women, it's men too. Because even men
No,
want to show
absolutely.
they want to show off that they got the biggest cars, they got the nicest suits, they collect colognes, they this, that, and the other. And the thing is, like, don't get me wrong, I tell people, do not take my social media seriously, because you'll never know who the fuck I am. I post relationship shit, single shit. I'm depressed and need some love shit. Like, you would never know what my mood is that day. And I would literally tell you, you would never figure it out. You would think you would figure it out, and you won't. And the thing is, like, for a lot of my guy friends, they even told me the reason they don't shoot their shot with me is because they think I'm still in a relationship. And I'm like, usually I'm not. But if you ask me, I'm going to tell you. Like, if you ask, I'll tell. But I'm not going to go out of my way and tell people. Like, people know I have a partner at this point. I'm not posting him on social media like I did the last one, because the last one, you see how that went. If you
Yeah,
know, you know.
that shit went sour.
If you know, you know. And that was one of the ones that I was his body type and everything else like that. That was the second one. So it's just little things like that where if you post that you're single, people are going to think that you're single. If you are acting like you're single, people are going to assume that you're single. But I don't act like I'm single. I've never acted like I was single. I just act like I'm in a relationship, because guess what? I am. Even when I'm not in a relationship, I'm in a relationship with myself.
And that's
100%.
the best person to be in a relationship with.
Hell, fuck yeah. And I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with being in a relationship with other people, but you got to take in consideration that sometimes being in a relationship with yourself, that's your first relationship. You need to know yourself better than anything. Like, I told somebody not too long ago, your first real relationship, or your first understanding of what your partner is going to be, is your relationship based off with your parents. That's your first real major relationship. Then you have,
See,
those childhood friends, and then you have your first crush, this, that, and the other. But honestly, your first relationship is the relationship you have with yourself.
I used to I used to hate being single. Like, I'm not gonna lie, but then I realized how much money I could save, and it was just the best thing for me for at certain times.
That is true, because that this point, I actually today I saw a TikTok video of a woman say that y'all don't never talk about how expensive it is to actually be in a relationship, because now these guys want to take you out and you need a new outfit, this, that, and this is an influencer. So of course she needs to make sure her photos look nice and this, that, and the other. You will see the same photo of me 3 or 4 times in the same reel, in different reels, because I do take photos, but I don't take enough photos. I don't need y'all to know who I'm with or what I'm doing, because even when I did the human or boyfriend reveal, it wasn't even a picture of his face. It was a picture of his arm. That's what y'all gonna get. I treat my man like I treat my sugar daddies. I ain't got no sugar daddies, but
I was about to say, wait a minute. Is this something I'm missing?
you would know before I would. I'd be like, hey, I got you that Modern Warfare though. How'd you get it? Don't worry about it. Mind your business. Paw just wanted to make sure I was good.
I'd be like, that's my dog.
But no, but you know what I mean by that. Like you know how women will go on dates with their sugar daddies, and their sugar daddies are like, "You gonna put me in this video? Cause you know I'm the one who took you out here." And I'm like, y'all a mess and a half. I want a sugar daddy, cause shoot, these student loans are beating my ass. Life and student loans has got hands.
Do sugar mama still exist? Cause
They do, they do,
I might,
they
well,
do. You might have to go find one, baby.
I don't even know.
Social media is making it super easy for you to find one nowadays. But that's just what I mean. Like I the reason I believe in not posting my partner. I will declare that I have someone so I don't have the wrong people approach me. But even then I've been told by some people it's like you don't have to tell nobody you're in a relationship.
You really don't.
You really
It's
don't.
nobody's business.
It's not nobody's business. But at the same time though, I don't want nobody to prey on his downfall because I have people preying on my partner's downfall or any partner that I have. So I won't post them. And then even then, if I get married, it'll be one of those like that's when you're gonna realize that I'm with somebody. With somebody, it's gonna be one of those very hyper focused ones where it's focused on the ring, but then us blurred out in the background. That's gonna be the announcement that I'm no longer on the market indefinitely photos that y'all get. It'll be super focused on the ring, but we gonna be blurred out in the back, and you be like, oh, well, she with somebody. Well, damn, I didn't know. That's how that's gonna be because I don't need nobody preying on this man or woman's downfall because of that's how people are. People don't want to see you be happy. There's a lot of people out in the world that want to see you happy, but there's a lot more people who want to see you miserable.
Oh, absolutely.
So personally, social media can really be it can be detrimental because I honestly feel like that's what probably triggers a lot of those exes to randomly like, hey, big head, because they probably were lurking on your page, and then they were like, oh, they look happy. Let me see what they up to real quick. Let me see if I still got it.
And that's why, like, if you see a post out of me like once every 3 4 months, like that's a lot.
Yeah. Unfortunately, when it comes to me and what my stigma is on social media, I have to post a lot more. I try to just limit what I see, so I make sure my algorithm is where it needs to be at. But mainly that I agree with certain things of downing your screen time. I don't really 100% agree on the whole not being friends with your partner. But if you have clear understanding and communication, then that shouldn't be a problem. I feel like the only reason you shouldn't be friends with your partners is because you may have insecurity and your partner may still be doing sly shit. Because no offense to my friend's her partner, they're not 100%. They've had a very rocky road in their relationship.
And that's unfortunate.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate. So when it comes down to that, I pray for them to get it together and everything works out the way it needs to work out. So by 100%. But when it comes down to everything else, I honestly feel as though that relationships are one of those things where you kind of need to understand how is social media affecting your mental health? How is it affecting your friendships? How is it affecting your mind state? Because even then with social media and friendships, like your best friends, they have all these like this is my best friend for life, this, that, and the other, and they have all these videos of these best friends going out and doing all this extra shit. Then you looking at your best friend that you only talk to once every 3 or 4 months or once every year, and y'all act like y'all have never stopped talking, and they're like, well, are we really truly best friends? No, best friends understand that life happens. Don't let social
Yeah.
media make you believe that because you're not going on girl trips and you're not doing the XYZ with your best friends, that you're not best friends with them.
I've had plenty of people who I've been friends with. We didn't talk for probably years, and when we talk, it's just like old times, and we're just catching up where we left off at.
Exactly, exactly. So I tell people you have to be very mindful when it comes to social media. We are so big on looking at other people's yards, and social media gives you a view of other people's yards. Again, that's just the yard. It's not the actual house itself. It's not really any of that stuff. You have all these full woke people giving advice on social media as well, so you have to be very mindful. I'm one of those people where if you give me some advice on something, I'm going to do my own research. I'm not going to just believe word of mouth, because it doesn't make sense. Like, where did you get your resource? Where's your facts? I need to know. So if you tell me something, I'm gonna
The
need to research
Facebook
it.
was their the Facebook was their social was their resources.
That's exactly what, or Instagram is a resource. So I gotta do my research. So for me, you need to, like I tell you guys all the time, like, don't just take my advice. Like, take my suggestion, because it's not really advice. It's just more of a suggestion. Take the suggestions that we give you, but also do your own research, because what may work for you may not work for everyone else. What may work for me may not work for you. And I want you to at least have an understanding that with social media, we are dumbing ourselves down. We're not doing the proper research. We're not doing the proper grunt work, because, again, millennials has it bad where we want instant gratification and we can spread misinformation. So I want other people to understand that social media is great for that social quotations. That's, where the definition social, you're socializing, but it's also media, and not all media is actual facts. These could come from different sources. It could be a lot of other different things. So you just got to be very careful where you're getting these facts. But it is also scientifically proven, if you're going to back up stuff, that too much screen time does affect your eyes. Too much screen time does affect your mental health. Too much screen time does actually, affect you to certain points where it affects your mental, your emotional, and physical, and it even affects your relationships with other people as well as yourself. And the thing is, even before social media, we had Hollywood, where we looked at Hollywood news, where we looked at all these other people having celebrity status and all these other houses, and even looking at our neighbors who were just so bent on making sure you knew that their lives were so happy, that when you sit here and look at their house, but you're not knowing about the arguments or the abuse or anything else like that, you're like, oh my God, I really wish I was like them. But that's what they want you to see. Social media makes it so easy for you to see the outside, but not the inside. And it
I
makes you,
agree 100%.
and it makes people depressed. You cannot base your life off of social media. You cannot base, oh, where my life is at based off of that, because some people could also look at social media like this. Damn, there's these 30 or 40-year old somethings not getting their lives together, but I got my stuff together. Now they be like, oh, I'm doing good. Or it could be the opposite effect where, you're in your 30s, but then you see like these 15 and 20-year-olds who are already multimillionaires.
Yeah, that is also true. That what was that kid Ryan, who my daughter had me buying all this stuff. He was what, like 8 years old, and I think at that time he was worth like $22 million.
Exactly. And stuff like that can really detriment your health. That could actually bring you down. So you have to just take some time to realize, like, you can't paint your life and your goals based off of other people. You have to look at your own life and enjoy your own life, because if you're too busy looking at other people's lives, you're going to ruin your own. You're going to self sabotage your own relationships. You're going to self sabotage your own relationships with yourself, your family, your friends, and just your understanding and what life is. Yeah, you can use social media for information to build yourself. You could take that same information and use it to build yourself and be a positive outlook versus a negative.
And it's not that hard to do.
Well, I wouldn't say that. Somebody told me today that it's not about it being too hard, because what may be easy for me and you could be hard for them. Like, as a person who is a person who's kind of a mixture of negative and positive, it is easy for me to be able to look at both the negative of a situation and the positive of it. Versus a person who is constantly negative, it's hard for them to see anything positive. Versus a person who is always positive, it's hard for them to see anything negative. You see, it is not that easy as of saying, oh, it's not that hard, because it may be easy for me and you, but for them, it may be the most hardest thing in the world. It takes time, it takes effort, it takes, patience. So we can't say that it's not that hard. So I actually had that eye opener today when I watched something where it's not as easy as we can say. Oh, it's just that it's not that hard to walk away from a bad relationship. No, it's really not. If it was me, I would walk away. Well, you're not there. You're not in that position. So I have to get out of the habit of saying it's not that hard because I don't know what their situation is.
I can see where you're coming from.
Yeah. So, when it comes down to social media, it's about gradually pulling yourself away from something that you know is detrimental. You have to look at yourself and see what is causing you to feel this way, what is causing you to be this way. You can use social media for both either good or for negative purposes. If you're just scrolling through TikTok and scroll hyper fixating on other people's lives, but you're not enjoying your own or fixing your own, that can actually be what is causing you to be depressed. So you have to take time to understand what is going to work for you and manage what's worked for you. Social media can actually affect your mental health in a good way or a negative way. You just have to know what is it doing for you. How is it balancing you out or pulling you down?
But if they so busy on social media, how do they take the time to even figure that out?
That is true. Take a moment and put your phone down. Be disconnected from your phone for a moment. Some people do it already when it comes down to being on video games. Shoot, my escapism is video games. I'll sit here and play a Call of Duty in a heartbeat and call it a day. Or right,
Me and you both.
or right. Right now it's been Call of Duty.
Hey, I'm not with you
Exactly. But
like that, and me working out. Those are my escapes.
I tell you, I set time every single day to read something for school because I am still in school. That's still a goal. It's about self-discipline. And the thing is as bad as I think I am, I look back at all the things that I have been able to do for myself and realize I'm not as bad as I think I am. I like social media will make me feel like I'm doing horribly, but I have a lot more self-control than I let myself on. I don't give myself nearly enough credit, and I need to get back into the habit of giving myself the credit. I do have a lot of patience, I have a lot of self-discipline, but also it doesn't help when your parents tell you that you're not very disciplined or very patient because you ain't got no kids. I'm like, that doesn't justify me being patient. I could be patient without kids. Calm your
You
calm
sure
your tits.
can, cause I have a child, and yeah, my patience is very good.
Oh, see, look at that.
My discipline is very good, cause mine ain't got no filter. We already know that.
Oh yeah, I love the tiny potato. But what we'll go ahead and now end it like this, kids. And before I go into my spiel, I'll say like this: do time management. Figure out what you're watching on social media. If you have an addiction on social media, then at least find some kind of balance in it. Find something that's not going to drive you completely up the wall. Find something that is going to end up being a good outlet and source for your social media. There's even different games on your phone if you can't put your phone down for more than 5 minutes. But also take time to like enjoy your actual moments with your partner and relationships. Don't disconnect, because I can tell you there's been multiple times I don't went on dates and me and my partner are there, and one thing I respect about him is like anytime that he's around me, he won't look at his phone unless it's involving his kids. And that I respect. And if we're out and stuff, it's me and him. And that's the same respect I give him. It's that when we're together, it's me and him. I don't try to be engaged in too much stuff. And if I do have to pick up the phone, I'll text somebody like, "Hey, look, I'm out right now." Because I even do that to my uncle, and my uncle understands. So it's one of those things where you kind of need to take those moments and enjoy, because like I said, we've been on dates and literally me and him are literally at a table together, but then I'm looking at other couples out on dates and they're on their phones. They're not even looking at each other. They're looking down at their phones and having conversations, which just seems like we're almost being brainwashed to believe that this is normal. This is the normalcy. So just enjoy your life. Take those moments, take your phone, put it down. Try it for a couple days. And then if you can do it for a day, or if you can do it for a few hours, then try it for a day. And if you can't do it for a day, then go back to a couple hours. Just kind of gradually pull yourself away into the point that you're down to like a couple, like 4 or 5 hours a day. I know it's a lot easier said than done, but honestly, just it will make you have a different outlook on life. Be a little bit more aware.
Yeah, and only people who should really be attached to that phone is if you know it's a lot to do with work.
Mhm. And that's honestly where I'm at with my life, where I just use it mainly for work. I don't get me wrong, social media is still part of one of my jobs, my mini hats, because I do have it. But when it comes down to it, I try to limit my time down to like at least 7 hours a day, because I work more than fucking 14 hours. So if I'm on social media, it's usually because I'm already at work and I'm already on some downtime. But as of the last week, my screen time has been 4 hours yesterday. Today it's been 5, but yeah, it's been under 6 hours for the last week.
Depending on the type of phone you got, have a Galaxy, and it'll tell you at the end of the week you've used your phone this many hours more than you used it last week, or
Yep,
you've used it this many hours less than you did last week.
yep, mine's that every week. So
Yeah. Sometimes I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I've looked at it. I was like, "Oh man, that's not good."
exactly. I tell you like this, it's about making sure you know what your limitations are and taking care of your mental health. And see if maybe that will actually change your perspective on life, and if you enjoy your life a little bit better, cuz honestly at the end of the day, it's done wonders for me. My mental health has been a lot better since I've cut back on social media. Like I said, I don't 100% agree on the whole not being friends with your partner on social media, but again, it may work for other people. For me personally, I like supporting whoever I'm dating, especially I have a tendency to date artists. I like to be able to support you. And the only way for me to support you and for you to support me in your goals and ambition is we kind of got to be friends. Like, I can understand if, like, that person's not an artist, they're just on social media, then maybe you shouldn't be friends with them. But if they're an artist and they're doing it to promote their art, they're promoting their music or whatever their craft may be, yes, then you should be friends with them for the purpose of I'm going to help you out. I'm going to help you get and build because I am your supporter. You feel me? But if it depends on the situation, honestly.
Yeah, because I mean, having a support system is huge.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that. But other than that, do you have any other suggestions of what they could possibly do to help themselves with social media and their mental health and their relationships with themselves?
I do not know.
Um, well, with that being said, guys, I hope you guys are okay. You're taking care of your mental. Just remember that it is okay to not be okay. Stay hydrated. Eat some food, even if it's a little snack. Self love is the best love, and self care is the best care. Don't let social media make you feel like you're not enough. Don't let social media make you feel miserable because you're not in a relationship at this moment, that everybody else is cuffed up. Don't make social media dictate your life and if you should be happy at this moment, especially since we're going into seasonal depression time. Do not let social media make you feel horrible. From your friendly neighborhood witch and her uncle, I hope you guys have a wonderful week, and we'll see you on the next episode.